Alright, so whenever you're ready.
How? How can I tell you about the fear and fighting, the terror, the horror that war is? Should I use some pretty little simile? As terrifying as a roller coaster? As jarring as a car crash? How do I describe a gunfight? The noise, the experience, the sound of slamming doors as mortars cough and bark, the hammering of woodpeckers when gunfire is in the distance, the zipping and cracking and cursing when it's not. What do these words mean if you haven't lived them? How can you reconcile natural sounds with abrupt death? How can I tell you about war?
Sergeant Kevin Kelsey of the 4-9 Cav, 2nd ID. That was my latest unit in South Korea, and before that it was with the 3rd Squadron, 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment in Fort Hood, Texas. I would normally introduce myself these days as just Kevin, and I'm a second-year graduate student at Georgetown University studying international development policy.
My name is Isa Lanuza. I was a veteran who served in the Army National Guard for 6 years, served in Operation Iraqi Freedom Part 2. Currently, I work for Deloitte Consulting in the Information Technology Strategy and Architecture Department, and recently graduated from Georgetown, a Master's in Public Relations and Corporate Communications. So I'm hoping to get more involved in PR to, impact social change.
My name is John Rodriguez. I'm a captain in the Maryland Army National Guard. Before serving in the National Guard, I was an infantry officer on active duty with the Army for 6 years, including assignments at Fort Hood, Texas, and Fort Myer, Virginia. And I did a year-long tour in Afghanistan in Kunar Province in the Korengal Valley. I'm currently a Herbert Scoville Jr. Peace Fellow, working with the Center for National Policy here in Washington, D.C., working on national security issues. I wanted to join the military all through high school because, growing up I saw all those, TV commercials, be all you can be, et cetera, right?
They are forged in the crucible of training. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
I love recruitment ads. They never get old. I look at them now and laugh. I used to, before the Army, I looked at them and say, I wonder. And now, when I look at them, I laugh and I just think, give props to whoever's writing this stuff, because, how many suckers were just made watching that commercial.
I knew commissioning in 2006 that I was going to go to Iraq or Afghanistan, kind of went into it with my eyes open in the sense that, I knew I was going to be going to war, and I thought I knew what war is going to be like, although, you can't know what it's going to be like until you're actually there. So. Trying to pick, what is one of the more kind of difficult days or difficult things from my time in the Korengal, that's really tough. There were some children that were killed during a battle, and the elders came with a pickup truck to our checkpoint, and they take me to the back of the pickup truck, pull a blanket back, and there's 3 dead kids there. And they ask me, does this look like Al-Qaeda to you? And I don't know what to say.
Every time I talk to one of my buddies back in that I was in Iraq with, they'll bring up some story involving me that I totally forgot about. And which reminds me, which is kind of weird to think,
you know, that divide, I often think about that kind of divide between veterans and civilians. And, you know, like my buddies will be like, oh yeah, you know, Kelsey, remember that time? Like, you know, you got shot at or whatever. And I'll be like, oh yeah, damn, I forgot about that, you know? And that means that I have forgotten shit that, like, you know, might have, I mean, how many people in their life can say they got shot at, right? Or like had like a near-death experience. I mean, for some people that might be life-changing, but like for me and so many other veterans, like that has happened and I forgot about it. Just because, you know, that's just a day in the life of, you know, 15 months in fucking Mosul, I guess.
We're good, sir. I'm good. We're good, sir. We're good. We're good.
Getting a call or, you know, having somebody physically come and tell you, you know, we lost somebody on our convoy, that was the hardest. You know, we did get hit with a few IEDs, but, you know, luckily not all of those led to death. The hardest moment was definitely learning that a convoy that you went on, that our group was on, got attacked, and, you know, it was a fatal incident.
To Viper 2-2. Staff Sergeant Cox was killed in action. It was an IED. He was a friend, and so his death is one that stays with me. Sitting with him the night before helped my loneliness heal. We joked and laughed, broke some bread. This was his last meal. I told him what time to go. Our Apaches ruled the air, but our enemy, unknown to me, did not so easily scare. The ominous blast, sharp and loud, its dust covered the hill. The report came in, IED, catastrophic kill. I thought I heard him, Viper 2-2. The radio sang his call sign. I listed the names, men on patrol, how many were friends of mine. 2 killed, 2 wounded was the call. Roster numbers followed. I checked, rechecked. The names didn't change. My insides were hollowed. I still can't believe he is gone. My heart refuses, balks. The best men we had were the ones lost. I failed you, Nathan Cox.
So I was diagnosed with PTSD while I was in the military, and I found it very difficult to seek treatment. You know, I never went to my boss and said, hey, boss, I want to go to counseling for PTSD. And if I'd done that, maybe they would have said yes, maybe not, I don't know. But the pressure to lead and to set an example was very intense, especially as an officer. So the idea that, you know, if I went to counseling, then I would be seen as weak, that I would be having to, you know, take time away from doing my job to take care of these, you know, problems that I had. It made it very difficult.
Some people do look at veterans, and I've heard even soldiers complain about what's the big deal with PTSD. You know, these people don't have PTSD. I've heard a statement saying, you know, these people were a mess before they joined, and, you know, going to war just brought it out of them. And I struggle with those statements because it's not fair.
Doing the poetry is interesting. I was trying to kind of think through my feelings about the topic, but it's something that is not resolved. You know, it's something I'm still wrestling with. There's times in there that I am feeling like the broken veteran, you know, that I am traumatized and, you know, and feeling sorry for myself. So, you know, I was using it as kind of therapeutic writing, but I'm kind of torn somewhat It's just like, how effective was it? Like, because on the one hand, it's traumatic to relive those experiences and have to think about them. And it's easier almost to just not think about it and try to move on, right? But then that's the whole problem with PTSD and everything, that while it's easier to forget about those things, is that the right thing? And some of the soldiers that died, or the civilians, like, seeing that, like, that is more traumatic for me. And I don't think about those things that often because they're that bad.
I think it's important coming home to find ways to be at peace with my dual identities, that of a civilian and a soldier. Running for me is an escape, I think, from just life in general. It definitely helps me practice mindfulness when I run and appreciate just, the peace that is around me, not having the noise of war or the noise of the corporate world. It's, a time for me to just, appreciate grace and harmony, and also gives me hope, for tomorrow, because there are places where you can go to find peace and get away from that chaos.
Civilians don't know a whole lot about the military, and they kind of build their own idea of what military life is like and what being a veteran is like. And I would say that whatever that idea is, it's probably wrong. If you put me in a chair with a doctor and he gave me a PTSD test, I can give you whatever results that you wanted me to produce. So if you have PTSD, then you either answered those questions honestly or answered accordingly, which is fine. If I were to tell a doctor some of my experiences, then as a civilian post-deployment, he might say that I have PTSD, but so what, I guess. If your friend thinks you changed, real good friends may not even say anything about it. They'll just talk to your other friends about it and ask, am I crazy or is he a little different? But I certainly had some friends close enough to me to ask if I was okay and whatnot, which is good, which is fine. I always tell them I'm fine. My dad's always asks me still, anytime we're in the same room and something that has to do with the military, comes in the conversation, he'll ask you, you get any of that PTSD? And, I always tell him, no, of course not. It's because, I don't know, if I'm going to open up to someone, then it'd probably be more likely to be a stranger than, one of my close friends. But, no, I always react the same. Just, yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Like, your identity as a civilian and soldier has to coexist, because I feel like when you go through that extensive training of boot camp, when you go to your drills, when you get deployed, it really impacts you. And to me, it has become the underlying foundation of who I am. And even if I wanted to, I don't think I could get rid of it because I have to hold on to the progress I've already made.
I like coming out here in the, adverse conditions, or like walking to school in the snow and stuff. I feel like such a pussy sometimes, just sleeping in my bed every night, sitting at a computer all fucking day. Too bad nobody's forcing me to come out here and live out here for a fucking week, But even camping, you're in a tent, In the Army, it's like you're sleeping right here with a poncho over you. And, I don't know, probably sucked at the time, but probably never be doing that again. And, it's good to get away from fucking DC and soft sheets every once in a while, I think.
my identity as a veteran and civilian, I mean, they have to coexist because I'm just one person, but certainly I pick and choose the kinds of behaviors I might want to display according to who I'm talking to. Talk more professionally, maybe like now, whereas in a room full of veterans, kind of a different person. Can they ever coexist simultaneously? Maybe not, but they have to. I have to, I mean, I guess I gotta move forward and kind of, you know, take what's good out of that kind of military personality and move forward with, you know, what I'm doing now. Maybe we can come back to that one. I don't know. It's a tough question.
Go for it.
My missing piece. I'm shaped by the Korengal Valley. Although I didn't stain its rocks red, didn't die, it has taken a large piece out of me. In my dreams, its green dark hills all I see. The nightmares won't fade. No matter what I try, I am shaped by the Korengal Valley. 8 men I knew now rest in a cemetery. The best, cut down without even a goodbye. It has taken a large piece out of me. The crack, whiz, and fear burned in memory, tormented by actions untaken when the bullets did fly. I am shaped by the Korengal Valley. Now cold and distant, lacking all sympathy for cowards who ran, or those who never went, stood by. It has taken a large piece out of me. Can I escape this mental prison, become a parolee, or will this haunt me, torturing till the day I die? I am shaped by the Korengal Valley. It has taken a large piece out of me.